I think banning it is far too extreme. What should be an enlightened approach to regulation is something along the lines of what the Bank of England is doing with financial technology startups. Is you create a sandbox where there is light touch or semi-regulation of some of these companies in order for them to innovate and create a better environment for the whole market. The banning of ICOs, I think, is far too strict. What should be happening is that it should be light touch, semi-regulation, perhaps new kinds of rules written, and also creating a kind of an innovation area for these companies to start innovating. And I think the more enlightened governments are doing that at the moment. Well, if you're talking about the Ethereum, the platform of Ethereum, I think it's very interesting that there are another number of competitors starting to appear that are trying to do something similar to Ethereum and in a different way. But what's interesting about Ethereum is actually that they're pivoting around and actually almost staying ahead of the game and being quite clever about how they take the project forward. So at the moment, I think they're the ones to beat. There are a number of others competing with them, but they have very, very smart people, very enlightened people with them, who are managing to keep the project on its toes and responding to the needs of the industry. There's clearly a bubble going on, there's no two ways about it, and I think that there will be a number of people who be pretty sad out there. There was a story just the other day about somebody who lost $70,000 in one go just from an ICO. Where I think it's heading is that the pre-ICO is becoming much, much more important. It also means that traditional investors can become involved. It means that you can be much better positioned for potential future regulation, and it means that it's bringing the traditional venture capital industry in and along for the ride, giving them incentive to make the whole process much more legitimate and mainstream. There's a lot of problems with fraudulent ICOs going on at the moment, and very, very difficult to regulate. It is a problem. It's just a function of the fact that the whole market is basically unregulated at the moment, and it's going to happen. It's very old-fashioned. The old-fashioned phrase of buyer beware, basically. If you can't stare into the whites of the eyes of the people you're investing in, then you may have an issue. I think that there will be some very, very important and significant companies coming out of this whole ICO phase. But at the moment, it's obviously very hard to see separate the wheat from the chaff. My impressions after today's Blockchain and Bitcoin Conference here in Kiev is that it's a really fantastically run conference. There's a lot of people here. There's clearly enormous amounts of interest in this space. I think it reflects the fact that Ukraine and Kiev is going to be a very hot center for this stuff going forward in the future. And it's a great conference. There's a lot of great content, great speakers here, and it's a lovely city to be in.